Alright, today we're gonna do something a little different. Time I did this, like I did the tier list and it was all heavily scripted and such and all that fun jazz. Uh, Today I'm just kind of talking. I don't know if I'm gonna fill up the full time of this match. I'm just kind of gonna be talking about Legion, and everybody has a Legion video up at this point. Mine's probably too little too late. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway with an outlook to the future. That's probably the best way to do this, considering the fact that the pre-patch Legion's time is up, and he just got changed. So when Legion came out, it was kind of like a drastic flip. But when he came out, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy sucks," and slowly, over the course of a few months, it became, this guy's busted. And there's nothing we can really do about this. And throughout the entire thing, I think everybody, like, the one thing that never really shifted with this character is the fact that everybody thought he was poorly designed. And I think that was the main problem above anything else. The design of the character was poor. Now, I say that as somebody that didn't hate it as much as everybody else did. I mean, I thought it was certainly original, a killer with guaranteed time downs that take a little bit longer than they should. Like, it's an interesting concept how that would fit into this game, where the downs are timed. But, like, the problem with that, I think the reason everybody hated it so much is that, like, the game kind of became like a robot, if you will. Like everything was just so pre-planned in advance. You could always tell what was going to happen, but the individual interaction between survivor and killer, like for example, this play I'm doing right here, like this Claudette knows what's going to happen next. I'm going to jump, like everything about it, like as opposed to characters like Spirit and Myers and other killers that don't, like you have to react to what they're doing, and that's where the challenge of the game stems from. It's the interaction between the two players, and Legion cut that out because there was no interaction between the two players. It was just, this down is guaranteed. Whether that was strong or not, I think is still debated in the community. I thought it was on the mid-tier side, but usually when there's two extremes, the middle is usually correct. And I thought that was the case with Legion as well. I thought he was mid-tier. I thought he was very high in the mid-tiers, but I thought he was mid-tier nonetheless. So, like, but we all know that already, but, like, the thing about his core design, I think other people have already said this, so there's no need for me to go into a lot of detail about it. But, like, a Tide Time especially, you can't just nerf Legion. Like the thing, the way they design him is an unnerfable concept. I mean, you can obviously, you can completely destroy him because the thing about these nerfs that just came, first of all, they didn't just nerf one or two things about him. They nerfed everything about the character that was working, everything about the character that made him objectively work and objectively go off. Him, I'm just saying, I don't really fucking know. Everything about Legion that was working, objectively, was taken from him. This is a kit that cannot be, it's either gonna be, it's a poorly designed kit. That's the issue. That's the whole issue, isn't it? The kit is poorly designed. So when you try to tweak it and do balance changes on it, you nerfed him to shit. And and here's the thing, I don't think anybody in the community hates Legion, if you will. Like, nobody looks at Legion, the character, reads their backstory, and goes, "Oh, this is disgusting. I don't want any part of this." I think Legion, like the four people, Frank, Joey, is that the other guy's name? Julie and Susie. I don't fucking know their names, but like, I know Susie because I've jacked off to Susie once or twice. But you know, we all have. It's fine. But, like, the thing is, I don't think anybody hates Legion. They have a ton of fan art in the community. I think people like the characters. But what people hate is the fucking playstyle that they brought to the game. Which, again, that's not their fault. That's dev's fault. That's the development team's fault for saddling them with such a poorly designed kit. So, and looking at these changes are not the solution, because now the killer just doesn't work and is not viable. I mean, I think. Oh, a side note here, I hate the fact that some of Legion's tech was banned in the final days. The fact that that's a subject for another day. But like, I don't. If the devs put something in the game and they messed up, they shouldn't be banning players for their poor design. The optimal way to play Legion in some cases was to like hit a few feral frenzies, let them go, and let the deep wound kill them. Like, that shouldn't have been banned tech, because not only was it not overpowered because of how much time it took, it was just unavoidable. It was poor design. It was poor design, and punishing players for poor design is wrong. But yeah. So, like, that, I don't think the community hates the characters. I think the community hates the feral frenzy that they were saddled with. So, and like, honestly, deep wounds are just so, they're not even going to be good anymore because of the terror radius function. Like, it's, the whole status effect, all this fucking did was buff borrow time in the long run. All it did was buff borrow time. But it's not that big of a buff, so it doesn't matter. But like, it's what, like, all Legion really did, like, it's not his fault that the community hates his guts. So when you take this character, again, these changes that they have right now aren't the solution, because the character now doesn't work, and I don't think Legion deserves to not work. I just think they need to take more time to think things through next time they release a killer like this. They need to know the aspects of this game, and that's the thing. If they were like, if they cared about the competitive viability like they should when they release a killer, they could have worked around this and made something better. But like, so what do we do with Legion? Because I don't want Legion to just sit there. I don't think anybody wants Legion to just sit there, unless you're so. And honestly, if you want Legion to just sit there, you're just biased because of your bad experiences with Feral Frenzy and the pre-patch Legion. So what do we do with him? There's no way to make the kit that they have now work without people bitching and saying it's OP and all that shit. And like, honestly, I don't think anybody wants this kit anymore because of how poorly designed it is. So the solution is we gotta give them a new one. We have to give them a new one, and hopefully redeem this character in the eyes of the community. So, what do we do with them? Well, the problem with Legion, in terms of designing a kit for them, is that they are, like, what are they, high schoolers? Hold on, let me pull up their backstory. Legion. Let me make sure my song doesn't play. Legion. Oh my god. Let me just get a refresher here, people. Oh my god. I thought this was gonna take 2 seconds. My phone's being stupid. Okay, here it comes. Okay. Lore. Okay, so 19. Frank's 19. Are they all 19? It doesn't really say. Not that I can see in this skim. Frank 19. Years old, foster homes. He's an orphan. Doesn't give Julie's. It is Joey. So it doesn't really. Okay, I'm just gonna assume they're all 19. Okay, so they're all college kids. So basically, like, I don't know. I'm 21 right now. Like, to me, that's a relatable concept. like the thing about them, the cool things about these characters are they're kind of like a college gang, like a group of college kids that just wanted better, snapped, and did the things that they did. But like that's all the cool stuff about them, and like the fact that we can relate to them. But how do you design a power around that? They're normal college kids, so honestly, the devs kind of have a challenge here when it comes to their actual character design. Because, I don't know about you, but I don't have any superpowers, and I don't have anything that would... I don't have anything supernatural, so it's kind of hard to design... like, they obviously kept it in reality. If they wanted to not keep it in reality, they would have done that. But I think what they need to do is somehow highlight the fact that they're kind of like a gang, and they're kind of like there's more than one of them. Because right now, like all the legions are just reskins of each other. I say fuck that. I say what we need to do with them is somehow incorporate more than one of them into a match. And have that be their power. Like, I don't know, I'm trying not to rip off Identity 5, which, by the way, I still love Identity 5. So, we're trying to avoid ripping it off. Okay, but here's the deal. Hell Ember in Identity 5, the baseline killer, he puts down these puppets, okay? And what's a part of his power is he can put like a thing of energy into the puppet, and then the puppet will come to life and then start moving on its own, and he can hit survivors. Like that's, or he can also clone himself, and like there's AI programmed into it. So the fact that Identity 5 can do that means that I know Dead by Daylight can. And again, honestly, you get there's 2 puppets and a clone, and you can have 4 things running around at once in Identity 5. So why can't we do that with Dead by Daylight? So like what I was thinking is we're trying not to rip off Hell Ember. So like I don't want to just rip off Hell Ember and call it a day. There's another character in Identity 5 that like there's a central body which could obviously be Frank, and then he there's these waves of support characters. Like it's such a weird concept. I haven't played that killer, but like there's concepts that we could not adapt, like not just blatantly rip off, but like apply to Legion to like make some kind of character design based around the fact that there's more than one of them. So I don't know. I'm just my suggestion, something I was thinking about was, okay, deep wounds, failed frenzy, terrible design, take it out. There's no need to have it. It's just bad design. Okay, you might be able to keep it. Like, I'm trying to just to think of something we could do. You might be able to not feral, or you could separate them. I'm trying, like, okay, you could. Something I was thinking was, okay, you could like control Frank. Okay, and then his power would be like he has the other 3 Legion members on call or something. I don't know. I've had multiple ideas. Like there's symbols that smiley face, right? You could like put down the smiley face, and then you get the 4 shoulder buttons on PS4. Like if you want to, you have a smiley face for each member of Legion, and you can place them you can just place them anywhere, and then you can teleport to them. So you could be playing as Frank, and then all of a sudden somebody's near your Susie badge. You click the Susie's button, and then you turn into her and start playing as her, and then obviously this would have a cooldown, so you couldn't just teleport all over the fucking map 24/7. But like you only get 3 of them, and then like, okay, I don't know, maybe you can make, okay, these are all spitballing ideas, just shit you could do. You could have Joey have like a 130 base movement speed, but all he can do is apply deep wounds. Like you could do something like that. Like, so, okay, you could be, here's the kind of set play we're going for. You could play as Joey, apply the deep wound to somebody, and then like lure them over to another one of your places, and then transform into, I don't know, Julie, and then down them. Like, I'm just spitballing ideas here. Something that would, like, you could keep the deep wound mechanic, but it wouldn't be it wouldn't be nearly as stupid, because, okay, like, Joey wouldn't be able to down anybody. He would have to, like, lure you over to another one of the smiley pins to then down you. Like, it would be completely avoidable, and he'd have to bait you into doing it. I don't know, I'm trying to think of how we can kind of keep their core, and then you could have, let's see here. I want to say 105 because Nurse is too slow and it doesn't work. You could have somebody with 110 movement speed, and then that person has the ability to do the Feral Frenzy over the pallet or the vault, or like, but obviously not like a meter. Like you'd be only able to do it like once or twice per chase. Like they could be stacked like Clown's bottles. You could like, okay, like easily Frank could do this. He could have 3. His main thing, or Frank could just be the baseline killer. Well, no, because they'd all have to have something else. Just Frank. Frank could have the ability to jump over the pallets, but he only gets like 3 per chase, and in order to like recharge them, you have to turn him off and switch to somebody else, and then he restacks them over time, if you will. So okay, you separate their powers. You keep their powers, but you can separate them so they aren't nearly as retarded. Because like the thing about these powers right now is they're retarded because they're together, and like with pre-patch Legion at least, and they don't work anymore because they changed them too much. I'm trying to think, but of course with deep wounds you'd have to give it a buff to where like it takes significantly longer to get rid of it, or else it wouldn't be good. And then I don't know. I haven't really thought about it this much. But some of the other things you could do. Basically, they'd be a killer with like 4 powers, or like you don't even have to have all 4 of them. You could just have a match with 2. Like you could just you could pick your skins obviously. Like you don't even have to do all 4 of them. Like you could just do the smiley pin concept. You could play as 2 members of the Legion at once. Basically, the idea that I kind of had for Ghostface, if he was ever going to be in, just give it to Legion. Just being able to let them like have multiple players in the not players, but like let the guy take control of 2 of them. And I'm just thinking, I don't know what you could do with it, but just some wacko ideas I've been formulating in my head, because again, I don't think anybody hates Legion. I think if Legion was better designed, people would love him. And he'd be in, like, the idea, the potential for an original killer is there with this guy. I just don't, again, they didn't execute it properly. They didn't think about what they were doing. And I think that's the whole issue with the character. I just think I don't know, I want to say they rushed it, but, like, whoever thought of the idea wasn't thinking well enough. And they somehow gave Legion a kit that's just unfixable. Unless you rework it, which, again, this guy needs reworks in order to be good. He's gonna be shit in this new form. I don't think we're done with this character by any means. I think it's important that they got this guy out of the game, because he was kind of, I don't want to say an embarrassment, because I liked playing him. Because, it's just kind of that frustration thing. If you lose a few, it's just like, okay, now I'm just going to play Legion, and all those defenses you just hit me with, yeah, they don't work anymore. He was kind of like easy-baked Nurse, but like not as good. I don't know, kind of like how Clown's easier Huntress, but not as good. Stuff like that. He kind of had a top-tier archetype that just wasn't as good. But I don't know. See, I think there's cool things about Legion that if we use them properly, they could be. We could turn this guy into a killer people like, because again, people don't hate this guy. I don't think. And honestly, how stupid would it be? In all honesty. You don't even know, man. Don't even know. I don't know. Those are just some of my rough ideas. I don't want this to go on too long. I'm out of things to say. But those are just some of my rough ideas of what we could do. If you have a suggestion for Legion piggybacking off of anything I said, or or an original idea what we can do to rework them, just throw it in the comments. I don't care. Just interesting ideas. Get the bad part is over, and the killer's out of the game right now because this rework sucks ass. Not really, like, these nerfs suck ass, and he's never gonna be good with them. So you're not gonna be seeing him ever, unless it's just some guy trying to meme on you. But like, so he's out of the game, but he's still a poorly designed mess. Like, the fact that he's bad now doesn't make him not a poorly designed mess in need of a rework. We're giving the rework to Freddy. Let's focus on Freddy for right now. Let's just leave Legion in the game right now the way he is until we fix Freddy. Then when we fix Freddy, then we can talk about Legion. Fair enough?